This video is going to summarize the Martyr Spirit. As we continue exploring the five faces of Jezebel and Luciferian spirits, next I will summarize the Martyr Spirit. This spirit appears as a friend, all the while controlling you differently than it does the martyr-based control spirit. The impact of this spirit on you includes making you tired and resentful as you constantly shoulder other people's burdens. This is the short summary of the martyr spirit. And quite honestly, if you're good with that, then stop listening. But if you want to learn more, keep going. Again, so the high level 10,000 foot overview of the martyr spirit is that you become tired and resentful as you constantly shoulder other people's burdens and they don't reciprocate that love back to you. To clarify by burdens, I'm referencing various responsibilities. The first would be self-sacrifice. Hosts of the martyr spirit consistently put others' needs above their own, often to their detriment. This can manifest in both personal and professional contexts. Number two, victim mentality. Hosts of the spirit also see themselves as perpetual victims, believing that others exploit them. They may also feel unappreciated for their sacrifices. Number three, seeking validation. The martyr spirit also makes its hosts crave recognition and validation for their self-sacrifice, leading to feelings of resentment if this recognition is not forthcoming. Due to their self-sacrifices, continual victimhood, and seeking validation that never comes, most hosts of the martyr spirit have a low self-esteem. While they may not appear to have a low self-esteem, being trapped in unfulfilling jobs and relationships are signs of the host's lack of self-worth. This low self-esteem often results in unresolved trauma and an emotional pain from childhood, creating a vicious cycle of self-sacrifice. You might hear them say, subconsciously, like you look at them, their actions, or maybe even in your own spirit, you may have, kind of heard yourself say, I'm carrying this pain for the good of my family. I'm carrying this pain for the good of my work family, my ministry, my grandchildren, etc. Religious teachings that emphasize self-sacrifice and suffering for a greater good can exacerbate the martyr-like tendencies. In the Catholic Church, for instance, the phrase offer it up has become a war cry rather than seek Jesus until he heals you. Such mentalities particularly ensnare hosts further. If a host with a martyr spirit recognized its growing resentments from perpetual self-sacrifice, they would seek deliverance and healing through Jesus, thus taking our ministry out of necessity of existing. However, because we glorify sacrifice in our Catholic denomination, many hosts of the martyr spirit face even greater oppression. Consider the case of my friend Maribel, who we delivered from the martyr spirit. When Maribel came to us for deliverance, she had multiple adult children and was constantly bending backward to help them and others without receiving any reciprocation. While she saw herself as a hero of her family, her grown kids disrespected her and mocked her in social settings, including her grandkids who joined in the public disrespect. Without boundaries in place, Maribel let her kids, friends, and strangers walk all over her, all in the name of being an unrecognized martyr hero. The bitter resentments from a lack of boundaries would grow until Maribel snapped, resulting in emotional blowouts that further damaged relationships. This pattern occurred not only in her home life, but also with people volunteering for her nonprofit. Inner healing from a martyr spirit. When Maribel sought deliverance, she was in an argument with one of her kids. Because Maribel didn't know how to set boundaries pre-deliverance, she invited others to trample the garden of her heart, resulting in many different arguments and broken relationships. In addition to the inner healing module created by As It Is in Heaven, found in our YouTube playlist, inner healing from the martyr spirit involves both self-awareness and external support. The following strategies can be helpful. Number one, spiritual direction. Professional help from a priest trained in spiritual direction can provide insights into the underlying causes of martyr like behaviors and help develop healthier coping mechanisms. Through regular conversations, reflections, and spiritual exercises, the priest can help guide you to understand your true worth and the importance of self care. This process helps you to balance your desire to serve others with the need to nurture your own well being, ultimately setting you free from the burdens of the martyr spirit and leading you towards a more fulfilling and balanced life. Number two, developing self awareness. Individuals need to recognize and acknowledge their martyr like tendencies. Keeping a journal or engaging in reflective practices, like a daily examination of conscience, can aid in this process. Individuals that have lived with a demon their entire lives will often be unaware of the unhealthy tendencies they have. Journaling and reflective practices like a daily examination of conscience can help you to become self aware when you've allowed yourself to put others' needs above your own. While Jesus teaches us that the greatest among us is the servant, Jesus also taught us that we should love our others as we love ourselves. And if we find ourselves perpetually in relationships where we're striving to maintain the relationship without any reciprocation from the other party, chances are that we are continuing to demonstrate martyr-like tendencies and not love ourselves. Number three, setting boundaries. Learning to set healthy boundaries is crucial. This involves saying no when necessary and prioritizing self care. In the case of Maribel above, she constantly allowed her grown children and grandchildren to walk all over her without reciprocation, letting them borrow her stuff and it not being returned, or when it was returned, being damaged. Doing house projects like landscaping is something that Maribel constantly found herself doing for her children, for her adult children. And then when she needed help in return, her kids refused to lend support. Which, again, this being under boundaries is one of his opportunities for Maribel to have set the boundaries of something like, all right, I'm going to do this, but I expect, some assistance back. Or if, she's done some landscaping work and the kids won't get back, it's like, hey, you know what? I can understand that you're too busy to be able to help me. But in the future, don't ask me again for landscaping because it seems like a very one-way street in our relationship. These are the types of boundaries that we're talking about. Number four, building self-esteem. Engaging in activities that boost self-esteem and self-worth can reduce the need for external validation. These activities can range from creative expressions, being in nature and outdoors, reading and learning, or improving your physical fitness. Engaging in art, music, writing, or any form of creative expression can be a therapeutic way to channel emotions and focus on personal joy. Spending time in nature, whether through hiking, gardening, or simply walking, can be grounding and rejuvenating. Exploring new topics or diving into books that interest you can provide a sense of accomplishment and also personal growth. Number five, healthy communication. Improving communication skills to express needs and feelings directly rather than through self sacrifice can enhance relationships and reduce feelings of resentment. A person plagued by the martyr spirit will have hidden from conflict management in favor of bending towards others' wills, even if those wills are toxic and unhealthy. A commitment to conflict management will be crucial for freedom from the martyr spirit. Committing, for instance, for a month to never shy away from conflict management will be critically important for walking out freedom. This can be as simple as quickly telling a telemarketer no and moving on with your day, meaning not sitting there for 15 minutes while they give you a sales presentation, but just like, I'm not interested. And I would appreciate it if you would move on to the next house, and then closing the door and moving on to something as difficult as ending a relationship. Those that are, suffering through the martyr spirit might find it incredibly impossible to end relationships and do it in a timely manner. So I make the prophetic declaration that our blessed Lord will identify some easy conflicts to work out and will make them more difficult as the month progresses to lovingly help you recognize your tendencies to avoid conflict. I promise that as you learn how to be more balanced in your life through conflict management, you will find a peace and freedom that you never thought was going to be possible as people no longer can walk all over you. And then finally, number 6, seeking support. Building a support network of friends, family, or support groups is necessary for providing the necessary encouragement and understanding needed to overcome martyr like behaviors. These groups are usually filled with other unhealthy people. Therefore, they too create chances for communication, boundaries, and conflict management. And with Christ being the head of these types of groups like AA, Al Anon, Sexaholics Anonymous, prayer groups, rosary groups, etc., the hope and prayer is that these communities present opportunities to show up differently than you have in the past. Plus, you are a new member. Therefore, no one knows the subservient martyr that you've been previously. So joining new communities allows you to anchor a new version of yourself. The martyr spirit is a troubling demon, and it's characterized by self sacrifice, a victim mentality, and a need for validation. Its causes are multifaceted, involving demonic, cultural, familial, and psychological factors. Inner healing from this demon requires a combination of spiritual direction, therapy, self awareness, boundary setting, and building self esteem. By addressing these areas, individuals can lead healthier, more balanced lives and improve their relationships. Understanding and healing from the martyr spirit not only benefits the individual, but also fosters more positive and equitable interactions within their social and professional circles. So I didn't have this written previously, but one thing that is really coming to mind most of all that I feel like the Holy Spirit is speaking through me in this moment, I kind of ended with saying, like, when you address this, you lead a more healthy, balanced life, but you improve your relationships. I think the most important relationship, well, there's two that come to mind. Number one, with God. God doesn't want you to constantly be overburdened with, oh, I got to do this and I got to do that. And oh, don't worry about this, guys. Don't worry, I'll pass out the rosaries. I'll take care of all the rosaries. I'll take care of all the deliveries or whatever it is that your ministry involves. Like, God doesn't want you to be so overburdened that you just are constantly just feeling like your tank is on empty. And then the second relationship that I feel like is coming to mind is your relationship with yourself. Meaning, if you're constantly kind of like being overburdened and doing all this stuff to like seek validation from other people, external validation, then it ultimately means that your relationship, you don't really see high value in yourself. And so I just, speak into that now that you are made wonderfully in the image of God, image and likeness of God, and you're seated in heavenly places with God our Father next to the right hand of Jesus in heaven. You have an incredible worth, and that Jesus died on the cross for you. So as you go through this season of inner healing after deliverance from the martyr spirit, I just make this prophetic declaration that you are going to grow in an incredible intimacy with God our Father, as well as intimacy with yourself, which allows you to have a better relationship both with God as well as with others. So Satan, take your hand off of the people that are watching and listening to this video, and angels from heaven come down and minister this word to be true, that there is just an incredible acceleration of healing and inner healing following the deliverance from the martyr spirit. In Jesus' mighty name we pray. If you or your loved ones are struggling with demonic oppression and you need deliverance, please visit our ministry online at www.aiih.org. From all of us at the As It Is in Heaven team, have a blessed day.